which has consequences at having us risk more lockdowns because they haven't chosen to get vaccinated yet, that there will be consequences for those people in not being able to go to a gym or a restaurant, not being able to go to a movie theater, not being able to get on a train or a plane.
Millions of Albertans celebrated in close contact with loved ones. We simply cannot afford a repeat scenario. So my message is simple. Please follow the rules that are in place.
I wasn't allowed to get any of this government money that they were giving everybody because I hadn't been open a year. So I couldn't prove my income. I couldn't prove nothing here. So now we get to open and then they close us again.
And it's really hard on our businesses, especially the new ones who have fired up because they haven't had the opportunity to get any of the help that the federal government is offering because they're new businesses, so they have no criteria to meet. So it's been difficult on them, and we like to keep them open if we can.
Premier Danielle Smith has recently apologized for the sins of the previous leader of her own party here in Alberta. Former United Conservative Party leader and Premier Jason Kenney oversaw some of the toughest lockdown crackdowns in the Western world. Pastors were arrested in front of their children. Others were taken down in El Chapo-style arrests. Others turned themselves in. One had his church seized, all for the crime of keeping their church doors open to all during the pandemic. And business owners forced to make survival decisions to defy lockdowns on their own dining rooms, to save their businesses, to pay their bills. Well, they were sometimes arrested, jailed, repeatedly harassed by inspectors, and issued huge fines and summonses. Premier Smith's apology and her promise to investigate how best to provide lockdown amnesty.
I can apologize right now. I'm deeply sorry for anyone who was inappropriately subjected to discrimination as a result of their vaccine status. I'm deeply sorry for any government employee that was fired from their job because of their vaccine status. And I welcome them back if they want to come back. As for the amnesty, I have to get some legal advice on that. And so I've already asked my staff to request that advice so I can see how we would be able to proceed on that. My view has been that these were political decisions that were made, and so I think that they can be political decisions to offer a reversal. But I do want to get some legal advice on that first.
Would that also have to do with the timeline for the proposed amnesties?
I would have to see if I can do it. I will do it at the earliest opportunity. So I'm hoping within the next week I'll get that legal advice. Thank you.
Has come too late for a lot of businesses, including one we were able to help through your generous donations to fightthefines.com. That's a project where crowdfunded lawyers are provided at no cost to help businesses, pastors, and regular people fight their lockdown tickets in court. Do you remember Debbie from the Tipsy Cow in Hanna, Alberta? When the government told her that she would have to pivot her pub to takeout only, she knew there was no way she could make a go of it. So she kept her doors open, and her community supported her through it. But the fines and the harassment forced her to comply. Fight the Fines lawyer Chad Williamson from Williamson Law, though, was able to help Debbie get her lockdown tickets tossed out.
I wouldn't exactly call this one a victory. Despite summoning the hammer of justice to screech down from the sky upon government bureaucrats like the bird, which is the bald eagle, and our office successfully nuking 4 Public Health Act and regulatory charges, the Tipsy Cow is no more. The mandates killed them. Government overreach has shuttered another friendly rural Alberta family business for good. We saw this with Outlaws and with other restaurants involved in the righteous rebellion against tyranny over the past 2 years. Bittersweet indeed. After you've taken somebody's livelihood, what's left? Well, law enforcement thought that piling regulatory charges on an already terminal small business was the next appropriate step. Obviously, we didn't, and we did our job, as we always do, defending the good from the forces of old and evil in this province. And although Debbie will no longer need to stress about the regulatory charges we had the Crown withdraw, the future is uncertain. Now, perhaps there's been too little, too late done in that respect. And while we always celebrate legal victories, of which we've scored so many over the past 2 years, this one stings and is certainly hollow and devoid of joy. Our office will mourn the loss of the Tipsy Cow, the same way we've mourned the erosion of our civil rights and our civil liberties, especially over the past couple months and the past couple of years. Now, we wish Debbie a gentle journey on the trail, and we're hoping things will not just turn around for her, but will turn around for all Albertans on the tumultuous path that lies ahead for us all.
So that's great news for Debbie, but unfortunately, the forced closure of her business by the province to comply with the lockdowns resulted in the permanent closure of her business. The government put her out of business. Debbie's just one of thousands of Alberta businesses who could not survive the government lockdowns. It wasn't COVID that got them. It was COVID hysteria. And each and every one of these people, just like Debbie, well, the promise of Alberta was stolen from them. This is a place of opportunity, entrepreneurialism, and freedom. It's in our motto, strong and free. But Alberta was not those things for the last 2 years. So let's make sure Premier Danielle Smith keeps her word and returns Alberta to what we once were. If you agree with me, go to lockdownamnesty.com and sign our petition to Danielle Smith, calling on her to toss out the lockdown prosecutions, regulatory offenses, and fines before more dreams like Debbie's are stolen. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. To sign our petition calling on Premier Danielle Smith to keep her word to end the lockdown prosecutions, go to lockdownamnesty.com.